All right, good morning, folks. Happy Thursday. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. Couple things for you before the open. On the economic calendar, 8:15 a.m., we've got the ADP employment report. 8:30, we got the jobless claims, and then a few things for tomorrow. So, all of which could shake up the tree. And then tonight, we are going to get earnings here from Broadcom. And I think Broadcom's got a decent chance of flipping the current script. Here's what we're working with. Check the scores here for the indexes. S&P's get a 39. QQQ gets a negative 27. So pretty big divergence. That means you've got things like XLP, XLU, real estate, transports, financials, healthcare. They all look pretty good. They're trying to keep the ship afloat. Then you've got things like the SMH, negative 35, XLK, negative 33. And then on the Big 14, everything from Apple down to AMAT, we got a negative score. So the weaker parts of the market just so happen to be the bigger, more heavily weighted parts of the market. The stronger parts are, what I would argue are the less important parts. So that leaves the S&Ps here, I think, very much stuck between a rock and a hard place. Two levels I think you really want to keep an eye on. 5550 and 5500. And I drew out a little box here. What I don't want to do is lose my shirt inside the box. All right, they'll pop it, they'll drop it. I think a lot of back and forth chop. I think a lot of noise. The break of 5550 with lower time frame sell signals on the big three, I think makes it much easier short. In the event they can pop it back above the 21, back above the 5550, and they cancel the sell signals and bring on some fresh buy signals, then I think it's a much easier long. Potentially back to 5600, maybe back towards 5650. Going to try to be patient, going to try to save the powder for a break above the 55 or the 5550 or the 5500. Don't want to do too much in the box there. And then the Qs, I think very important for the Qs to try to get a close above the weekly 21 for Friday. We've got momentum trading below 0. No bueno. And then a score of 3 out of 12. From here, if they get a weekly close below that 21, we enter a situation where the weekly chart has negative momentum, they're breaking a little structure, a daily chart that leaves a lot to be desired. We're under the 50, under the 21, little momentum break, and then, your 2 hour down to a 5 minute. Not looking too hot. Maybe Broadcom can change that. I also think equally as important, Nvidia and Apple. Two very big pieces of the puzzle. And Nvidia taking a pretty good thumping this week. Daily momentum crosses below 0. 21 EMA crosses under the 50, and then I think potentially a bit more troublesome. For the first time since December, momentum here on the weekly chart crosses negative. You get the positive crossback here, and that kicks off a nice trend. Big push off the 21, pull back to it. Another leg to the upside, pull back to it. Now you're breaking your weekly 21. Momentum going south, with a daily chart down to 1 hour that look a little suspect. Best case scenario for the bulls, they very quickly get Nvidia back above that 110 weekly 21. Otherwise, it could be a pretty big, negative domino effect. Weakness in Nvidia equals weakness in the SMH. Weakness in the SMH can equal weakness in the QQQ. And despite things like XLP, this looks awesome. XLP's moving and grooving. The financials are moving and grooving. You've got utilities. You've got healthcare. Few different spots doing some good work. We keep on getting selling pressure in big tech, big semis. That can have a big impact on everything. And I also think food for thought. You look at a few things that are working. A lot of them happen to be a bit overbought. Healthcare came up here and smooched the 3 ATR extension. You've got the financials, 3 ATR above the buy zone. You have utilities, a little bit cooked here. To me, that means at any point we get selling in the spots that are working, right, they are dumping XLP, they're dumping utilities, real estate, transports. If they don't take that cash and immediately rotate that into big tech, big semis, at that point, guys, what's keeping the ship afloat? I don't think all that much. So I think NVIDIA is a very important name, and then also Apple. The break of the daily 21 and the daily 50, not very bullish. They keep on hanging out below 222-ish. Could be room for a further flush. Apple's a big boy. Down goes Apple. Pressure on the Qs, and yeah, from there, can spoil the fun for the XLPs, etc. NVIDIA, Apple, I would treat both of those names like internals, right? The same way you would watch the ticks, advanced decline. Keep an eye on those. And then one name that did look pretty good there yesterday, signs of relative strength, Tesla. Now, to be frank, it's a 1 out of 12. Much better looking things out there. Procter & Gamble looks better than a Tesla. But compared to the Goldmans, the Apples, the Googles, etc., etc., not too shabby. They get the close yesterday above the 21. They also get the close above the 215 call wall. The call wall comes from a spot gamma. And what I like here this morning, call wall for Tesla goes from 215 to 230. Not always, of course, but a lot of times, that call wall, it's going to act like a big magnet. Price is $10-15 below that level. It can be a big magnet, draw price to it. Once price gets to the call wall, it can be a big level of resistance. NVIDIA had a call wall at 130. And you all know what happened there. Right off the bottom, directly into the 130. And that was all she wrote. TSM has a 175 call wall. They try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to break it through. Close but no cigar. And then for about the last month or so, maybe a little longer, Netflix has a call wall here at 700. And they try once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. The call wall is the brick wall. And then AMD had a call wall at 160. And that all kind of stops it in its tracks. And then Apple had a call wall at 230. So back to Tesla here. The call wall going from 215 to 230 doesn't guarantee price goes higher. But I do think worth noting. So from here, they're gapping it up about $5 or $6 here this morning. Could change, of course, after the economic reports. What I would look for today, can they crank out a good close above the daily 50? Right, 222, 223. If they can close it above that daily 50, then I think they open the door for a push towards that 230 call wall. I'd love to find it above that daily 50 and then go trade it on a lower time frame squeeze. Right, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute. But if we get a good reaction to the report, they might gap it up. And, you know, when Tesla gets moving, it's a moving. Could be a situation where you're at that 230 call wall rather quickly. If they can't keep it above the 50, might be a more difficult long here. So keep an eye on Tesla. Watch Apple and NVIDIA as internals. See what's popping tonight for Broadcom earnings. And then the S&Ps. Stuck between a rock and a hard place. You've got XLP, transports, utilities, financials, real estate. They're trying to take mama market higher. And then the bigger, I think, more important names, tech, semis, etc., they are trying to take the old girl lower. Makes for a spot where I think you wait for a break. Let them dump it below that 55. Maybe shorter on the bounce. Easier short. They break it and stabilize it back above the 55.50. I think an easier long. But alright, y'all, have a great day. For those of you in my room, I will be on the mic with you this morning for the open. I might be about 5 or 10 minutes late. I shall give you a heads up in the chat. But I'll see you there, and for the rest of you, go kick some ass, and we'll talk soon. Adios.